Welcome back to another astonishing story from Olympics history. We're so used to seeing athletes at the absolute top of their game that it can feel jarring when we encounter Olympians who are, by any metric, really bad at their jobs. Sometimes the public responds with ridicule, but other times something far more interesting happens. We fall in love with them. Why? Because as the film Rudy reminds us, success isn't always about raw talent. Sometimes it's all about heart.
Perhaps the most famous example is the 1988 Jamaican bobsled team at Calgary, immortalized in Cool Runnings. These unlikely underdogs finished 30th in the two-man event and famously crashed during their third run, resulting in a did not finish. Yet despite these setbacks, they wrote one of the most enduring chapters in Olympic history. Millions of fans saw in them something far greater than technical skill. They saw determination, courage, and joy in the face of overwhelming odds. Another unforgettable figure from my teenage years was Michael Edwards, aka Eddie the Eagle, an English ski jumper. Eddie loved skiing, but he faced enormous disadvantages. He wore thick glasses under his goggles because he was extremely farsighted, which would frequently fog up. At 181 pounds, he was roughly 20 pounds heavier than most of his competitors. He trained largely on his own, had no sponsorship, and was completely self-funded, sometimes wearing up to 6 pairs of socks just to make his hand-me-down boots fit. At Calgary, he finished last in every single event by a wide margin. Yet he never stopped smiling. His infectious optimism made him a global favorite, and in many ways, the human mascot of those games.
Although he attempted to qualify for the 1992, 94, and 98 Olympics without success, Eddie's popularity endured. He later served as the torchbearer for the 2010 Winter Olympics, published a memoir, appeared on countless television programs,
and inspired a feature film starring Taron Egerton, Hugh Jackman, and Christopher Walken, which became the highest-grossing British movie of 2016.
Eddie the Eagle, meet Eric the Eel.
Eric Malonga, a swimmer from Equatorial Guinea, gained fame in the summer of 2000 at the Games in Sydney for his performance in the 100-meter freestyle. He was invited to participate in the Olympics thanks to a wildcard draw designed to encourage the participation of people in developing countries who lacked training facilities. And that certainly fit Eric. He'd taken up swimming just 8 months before the Olympics and had spent most of his practice time in a lake. He'd never even seen, much less swam, in an Olympic-sized swimming pool before he slid into the water for his heat. Nor had he ever even practiced at this distance. Eric took more than twice the overall leader's time to finish, the slowest in Olympic history by far, and some wondered if he was even going to be able to finish the race. His struggles inspired the crowd of spectators in the arena and those watching on TV to roar him home. Amazingly, he won his heat, given that both of his competitors were disqualified due to false starts. Eric became an instant legend, and while he greatly improved his times over the years, he never again made it to the Olympics. In 2012, he was appointed the coach of the national swimming squad of Equatorial Guinea.
Last but not least is Hamadu Asaka.
Of all the rowing events, single scull is the most demanding. It's just one person versus the water and weather, equal parts physical and mental endurance. It's a long race, 6,562 feet, and it is not for the faint of heart or willpower.
In the 2012 Olympic Games in London, the man from Niger was a brand new face. Like Eric, his presence was thanks to a wildcard draw.
The gardener and swimming pool attendant hadn't stepped foot in a boat until just 3 months earlier, at which point he instantly capsized it and ended up in the water.
Landlocked Niger isn't exactly flush with water. It's roughly 80% desert. It had no boats, no aquatic facilities, and thus had never sent a sculler to the Games. Indeed, in their entire history, Niger had won just 1 Olympic medal. Might Isaka be the man to change that? Sadly, no.
Isaka was very, very slow. He finished more than 1.5 minutes behind the winner on his first attempt, and each successive attempt just got worse. He came in last each and every time. But something interesting happened. Rather than laugh or turn away, the spectators that day rose to their feet in boisterous cheers. They screamed as loud for Asaka as they did for New Zealand's May Drysdale. the man who took the gold. Maybe even louder. Because while rowing experts may remember Drysdale as the champion of London, the rest of us remember Humadu Osaka.
These athletes remind us that the Olympics are not just about perfection and podiums. They're also about courage, persistence, and the willingness to show up when the odds say you shouldn't. And sometimes that spirit matters far more than any medal ever could. See you tomorrow for another amazing story from the Olympic Games. Stay curious, my friends.